What's up YouTube, capital G here. We got a brand new Krawler Trap that just got revealed. This is coming out of Cybernetic Horizon, and a lot of people on Reddit were saying it only made sense for crawlers to come back into the storyline, and sure enough, these guys are back. And yeah, we got a new trap to discuss. Man, it's situational, and it feels like in the best case scenario, if you get both effects off, it can be really impactful, but I'm not exactly sure that I love this trap card. So let's go ahead and break it down. It's called World Legacy Communion. It's a normal trap card. The first and the second effects are hard once per turn. Effect number 1, when an opponent's monster effect is activated while you control a crawler monster, the activated effect becomes return one face-up monster your opponent controls to the hand. Okay, so how this card works and similar cards like this, because this effect reminds me a whole lot of Dark Deal. Some people will think that it means that you, the crawler player, get to bounce one of your opponent's cards. No, that is not how it works. It actually makes their monster, for instance, if they summon Trickstar Candina, instead of her being able to add a Trickstar card from their deck, her effect becomes evac device. Her effect then bounces one of your monsters to your hand. The crawler player will have one of their cards bounce. And why does a crawler player want to have that happen? Well, if you don't know anything about crawlers, if they are face up on the field and they leave the field because of an opponent's card effect, this means even if you flip summon them and you try to activate the effect in their Solemn Strike, they will still activate if they're Regeki, Dark Hole, evac, whatever. They actually float, and they float into two different crawler monsters from your deck with different names, and you actually get to set them on the field. So that effect can actually be really good. Here's the problem that I have with this effect. It's not really the power of the effect, it's that it's really situational. This, in fact, just it really can stop monster effects that are important, especially if you get that key first summon, you know, that Stratos type effect, that's that Trickstar Candina or Alistair the Invoker or something like that. The problem is, number one, you have to have a face-up crawler monster on the field, and if you're going first, what do you usually do if you're playing crawlers? You tend to set monsters on the field, which means during your opponent's turn, in your first turn, you're probably not going to have a face-up crawler unless they stupidly attacked into it, and if you play the field spell, then they know you're playing crawlers, or unless you had World Legacy Pawns and you flipped it face up. If that happens, then yeah, you can activate this effect, but I don't like the fact that you might not even be able to use this traditionally during your first turn. And the second is, it only stops monsters. Like, I don't understand why this doesn't stop monster, spell, and trap effects. It's not like crawlers are anywhere near being able to compete on the meta level, and Konami knows that. So even if this would have stopped everything, it just would have been maybe tier 2.5 at best. So it could be very useful, but I also look at the effect as super fucking situational. And also, what if you have what if you have monsters that aren't crawlers on the field? Like, what if you have scapegoat tokens or anything else that's on the field, like a Mrs. Radiant? Because I summon that sometimes in crawlers. Your opponent will just bounce that monster and then you don't get anything out of it. All right, anyway, second effect. It says, you can banish this card from your graveyard. By the way, this can be activated as soon as this card hits the graveyard, which I actually do like. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one link monster, special summon one crawler monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. That is just really nice. That summons from everywhere, and face down defense position to a zone that the targeted monster points to. So you can obviously use this if you control a link monster, like if you have Qualiarch or something like that, but you can also use it if your opponent has something that points up, like if your opponent has a Decode Talker. So honestly, your opponent kind of has to watch what they're going to summon. This second effect I actually think is really useful, and I like the fact that it doesn't need to be played even if it's destroyed on the field. You can activate it from the graveyard. You could hypothetically activate both effects in one turn. I like that. I just think that this card is just kind of situational. It seems like a card that, as a crawler player, you will run simply because you don't have a lot of better options. I don't know if you guys know a ton about the archetype, but this is literally crawler's second trap in the archetype. So it's not like they're rolling in a whole bunch of support that is like amazing. They basically have to run this card because there aren't any better options. Stopping the monster effect can be cool. The fact that it doesn't have to activate in the, doesn't have to activate on the field. You can stop Ash Blossom or Ghost Ogre. You can stop cards that activate in the graveyard. If you can pull off both of these effects, yes, I think that this is probably a B- card, but I also see situations where if you have this and you have no monsters, or if you have this and your only monster is a set monster and your opponent Regekis it where it won't activate, this card could be dead for multiple turns, and then it could honestly be like a D+ card or like a C- card. So yeah, this card is decent. I just really wish it would have stopped spells, traps, and monster effects. Then I would have been like, all right, sign me up. I can stop my opponent's terraforming, Trickstar Reincarnation. I can stop their, their True Draco Heritage or their Pot of Desires, etc., etc. They could have given this card more utility, even though it's very unlikely your opponent's not going to activate a key monster effect in the turn. Or maybe if you could like reveal a crawler monster from your hand in addition, because I just don't like the fact that, yeah, your monster is generally going to be, set first turn, so you might not have this card actually live, and who the fuck wants to run a trap card that's not live in their first turn? So really weird, but I think that players will run it because there really aren't that many better options. So whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this card. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Because this feels like a card that people are going to be kind of split on. I think you run it because, as I said before, you don't really have any other options that are like definitively better, and World Legacy Pawns is the only other trap that the deck has as far as I know. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.